Welcome, welcome, welcome to each and every one of us for a place that we can come to connect in, to tap in, to tune in, to remind ourselves that we truly do hold certain superpowers as HSPs in business and leadership. We are here together today to focus on the topic of effective seasonal transitions as an HSP leader. Effective seasonal transitions as an HSP leader. So with this topic in mind, this is a great moment to remind each and every one of us of the program element value of both our leadership track curriculum and our weekly training roundtables. So your leadership track curriculum, that is, say, your marketing leadership track or advanced marketing leadership track or professional leadership track or self-care leadership track, or any of the 7 leadership track curriculums that we provide as part of this highly sensitive leadership training program. Your leadership track curriculum, you want to think of that as the what. Those track trainings are what actions to be taking. And it might be helpful and valuable to write that down, even if it's something that you've written down before. The track curriculum is intentionally curated and updated every year and designed so that each HSP in this community can use it at a pace that works best for you. So you might be an HSP who works really well just following that curated order. You might be an HSP who works best to go to your track curriculum as if it's a buffet and choose what you need when you need it. You might be an HSP who uses intuition and just energetically is drawn to a certain training at a certain time. And you might be an HSP who returns to a track training again and again and again. And if there's one piece of feedback that I have heard consistently for over 10 years of doing this work and working with track trainings, it is this. Oh my gosh, I listened to that training for like the 10th time and I heard something I didn't hear before. And that's how it works. So your track curriculum is the what actions to be taking. Our weekly training roundtable time together every week at this time, 12 noon Eastern, is the way. And again, might be valuable to write that down as a friendly reminder. So our weekly training roundtables are the way to be taking the what actions of your track curriculum. Our weekly training roundtables focus on how to operate optimally as an HSP. So the way that we go about taking action. So for example, the marketing leadership track absolutely has a track training on networking. Attending these weekly training roundtables is going to give you the way to take that what action of networking in a way that is optimal for you as an HSP. They're meant to beautifully work together in an awesome infinity sign of in and out and in and out. The what and the way. So again, with today's topic of effective seasonal transitions as an HSP leader, beautiful opportunity to be reminded of the what of your leadership track curriculum and the way of these weekly training roundtables and the value of using the two together. This is also a beautiful topic for those of you who have been working with the theme over these last months of intuitive planning, the theme of clear heart and inspired mind. Another beautiful dot connect to make to this week's training topic. Effective seasonal transitions as an HSP leader. Oh gosh, let's start with a definition. From Northwestern University, seasons are distinct periods of the year, each characterized by specific weather patterns, amounts of daylight, and climatic conditions. The cycle of seasons has been an integral part of human civilization, shaping agricultural practices, lifestyle choices, and even cultural traditions way longer than any type of record of keeping track of human behavior. So for instance, spring is often associated with renewal and rebirth. Summer is often associated with vitality and abundance. Autumn with harvest and transition, and winter with reflection and rest. Of course, seasons and the way that the seasons occur are geographically dependent. Yet regardless of where you live, the seasons are being felt because the seasons are influenced by the Earth's axis. I'm going to ask the team to just bring up a handout quickly, just as an opportunity to have a visual to go along with this topic of effective seasonal transitions as an HSP leader. So taking a moment just to give eyes on this handout, you don't have to deeply study it or memorize it in just this moment. My invitation would more so be to allow your HSP strength of intuition to guide your eyes to perhaps which part of this handout are you meant to receive for yourself at this time. More than anything, again, what this handout shows us from a visual learning perspective is that dance of the seasons. And the dance is of immense complexity. This dance of the seasons has been fine-tuned over millions of years, and it requires all of its participants. It requires the earth. It requires the sun, the ocean, and atmosphere, all to be in harmonious alignment to create the desired effect of each season. So I'm going to invite you to write that down, harmonious alignment. Now, interesting with this language of harmonious alignment when referencing to seasons is also the acknowledgement that stress, as research shows from Northwestern University, is something that can hit hard during seasonal transitions. Because a seasonal transition is literally physical change, not just emotional. I'm going to invite the team to remove the handout, bring us back into community, because here's where we want to remember that as HSPs, we feel things deeply. So let's write that down. As HSPs, we feel things deeply. So it only makes sense if standard research is showing how seasonal transitions can create stress for any old human being. What does that mean for us as HSPs who feel things deeply? And wouldn't it make sense to pay attention to seasonal transitions rather than to ignore them and just try to power through? Or most likely what would happen for us HSPs is we would kick into our HSP coping mechanisms and maybe not even realize until suddenly we're knee deep into the season. It's like, my gosh, why have I been pushing for the last 6 weeks? Or, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm coming out of hiding. Or, wow, why do I feel like I'm an insane combo platter over these last weeks? So we want to use the focus of this topic to be proactive. And let's write that down. To be proactive as possible with changes that we know are coming, such as seasonal transitions. Now, let's take a moment and let's look at how we as a community have actually been preparing for our current seasonal transition, whether you've been aware of it or not. And I'm actually going to call on Coach Kat to recap our last 6 weeks of weekly training roundtables to paint the arc for us, if you will, of preparation for seasonal transition. Kat, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Heather. Over the past 6 weeks as a community, we have been learning about transition cues to support highly sensitive focused task action. Then we moved into use transition cues based on your HSP type to support HSP focused task action. From there, transforming limiting beliefs to support follow through and fun. Then accelerating and activating hope. Assumption of positive intent. And finally, last week, how to make genuine connections with assumption of positive intent. So you can see how Heather and the coach team have been incrementally and proactively really supporting you with how to transition from one task focus to the next through your highly sensitive strengths, proactively shifting out of limiting beliefs that we have about how the tasks can be followed through in a more fun and income generating way, shifting the way that we take actions, including those actions that connect us with others so that we're making genuine connections from our HSP strengths, all so that you can be creating more impact and income no matter what time of year you're in. Back to you, Heather.
Gorgeous. Thank you for that recap, Coach Kat. Much appreciated. So what's so valuable about looking back over these last 6 weeks of training roundtables when it comes to transitions is to recognize that transitions feel like an abnormal disruption to life. But in fact, transitions are predictable and an integral part of life. So again, we want to be proactively preparing rather than slipping into HSP shadows such as overprotection or analysis paralysis or good old overwhelm. As a result of transitions, we can use intentional trainings such as those that are provided in your track curriculum and those provided for you as part of our weekly training roundtables together to be proactive and to consciously create. Because the more we consciously practice transitions from day-to-day activities to seasonal shifts, the more we succeed as HSPs in business, in leadership, and life. But of course, it takes a level of awareness. It takes due diligence of conscious commitment. And it takes the core practice of paying attention. But this time of year and again, seasonal transitions are a beautiful, beautiful example of how life, the world, business is not happening to you. It is a dance that you participate in. So one, if you're unsure about, oh gosh, well, this is really such a great topic, but how do I work with this? Go back and review those weekly training topics that Coach Kat just so beautifully listed out through the lens of what here would be helpful and supportive for me to really be effective with this seasonal transition. I was working with an intimate group, 3 of our members yesterday, and in that mini cohort discussion, we were talking about how this season, the last quarter of a calendar year, goes by like that. And it's so elusive because you think coming out of the mid-year months, there's all this time before the end of the year holidays. And then somehow, as one of the members said in our mini cohort yesterday, how is it, gotta excuse my language, I'm just quoting her, but how is it that suddenly you come upon the holidays in December and it's a shit show? And how does that happen every year? This is how it happened, by not giving conscious attention to seasonal transitions and showing up as an HSP from your strengths in leadership. So check in with yourself. How have transitions been a struggle in the past? Take a moment, write that question down. No right, no wrong, definitely no shame or judgment, but how have transitions been a struggle in the past? And then this question, where could you use support with making this current seasonal transition as successful as possible? So again, how have transitions been a struggle in the past? And where could you use support with making this current season transition as successful as possible? Take a breath in and let it out. And this is the discussion that we're going to enter into as we shift into roundtables for today's weekly training roundtable. So team, when you're ready, we will go into roundtables for the next 25 minutes. Thank you so much. I think we're transitioned into roundtables. I can't quite tell. Oh, Zoom, we love you. Oh, Zoom, we don't love you all the time. Let's take a moment. Let's place a hand on heart. And together, let's take in a breath. Breath in and let it out. Awesome. So where I'd love to dive into this roundtable before we go into those 2 questions from the training is first to hear from 1 to 3 members, something maybe that you heard as part of today's training that you haven't quite thought of before, or you hadn't thought of in this way before. So something from today's training that you haven't thought of before, or you haven't thought of quite in this way before. You can just raise your digital hand. We are going to share introductions. So if helpful, just please write this down. Just share your name, where you're zooming in from today, your leadership track curriculum, and your level of leadership program. Beautiful. Helene, something you heard after your introduction that maybe you haven't heard or thought of before.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm Helene. I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and my dog is barking. And I'm on the professional leadership track, and I'm in the highly sensitive leadership core. And I just felt a huge amount of identification with the chart that was put up, because since I was a child, I have had the most severe melancholy feelings in fall, and just a huge sadness. And people always were like, why? What's wrong with you? You know, but just to see that written on there just made me feel like such identification.
Yes, so appreciate
It's
that.
grateful. Yeah.
Affirming, right? Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Rachel, introduction, something you hadn't quite heard in that way before.
I'm Rachel Gorbett. I live in Ackworth, Georgia. I'm in the advanced marketing track and HSL++. Yeah, so I've felt the seasons my whole life and never knew it was a thing. So that's new for me. You know, yeah, always fall and spring are the ones that definitely hit me the hardest. And I never really thought about it before, that getting ready for seasonal changes. I've definitely thought about like trying not to be overwhelmed during like December, but never really thought about fall and all the other things. So, and also that chart was very helpful. I can't wait to print it out.
Awesome. Beautiful. So appreciate that. Yeah. So valuable to start to realize like, oh, like not only like, yes, I have felt the seasons, but as Rachel just shared, like, oh, spring and fall, right? Or whatever they might be for you. And then you can start to like plan and work differently around those particular seasonal transitions that have a different type of effect on you, right? So maybe not a big marketing launch as we're transitioning from winter to spring. For example, not a major hire on a team as we're transitioning from summer into fall, or other considerations, right? Yes. Brianna, introduction, something that you hadn't quite heard before.
Yeah, Brianna, calling in from Chicagoland, Visionary Track, HSL++. Similar to the shares already of like just kind of more of the connection to the I guess like the different personalities, if you will, of each season. But also I think kind of a desire to maybe print out this worksheet, but then also sort of reflect on it, because the autumn timeframe for me has always been a time of great movement.
Mhm.
Definitely stress too, but movement.
Mhm.
And so I'm just kind of curious to go deeper to understand, like, like I started my company on September 10th. I was born on September 10th. I always make the most money between September 10th and December 31st, right? Like all of like, it's such a time of, it is a time of rebirth in a way for me. But in a different way. So I'm just curious to reflect more on that over the next.
Yes, that'll be so incredibly valuable. Super exciting. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing more of what comes through that reflection for you. Amazing. And a beautiful example, right, of the individualization for each of us. Seasonal transition doesn't mean that everyone is experiencing seasonal transition in the same way. It just is an invitation for a deeper awareness, again, and that consciousness to make choices regarding creation and core practice. Susie Persini, introduction and something you heard perhaps differently or for the first time.
I'm Susie Persini. I have transitioned to Morristown, New Jersey. I am in the HSO++, and I'm in the Visionary Leadership Track. And what I heard was being proactive, consciously being proactive, instead of having these seasons slam up against me. I am now embracing the both and looking at this transition as a new year event. So it has been quite profound for me, because it's only taken me 72 years to reach this point.
Yeah, never too late. Never ever too late. Absolutely. And in many cultures and religions, especially the Jewish culture and religion, this time of year is the new year. Not an accident. Gabrielle, introduction, something you heard.
I'm Gabrielle Fauss, zooming in from France. I am in the core program and the mindset leadership track. So what I heard is that seasonal transitions are, after all, predictable. And if all disruptions in life are not, these ones can be worked with intentionally. And so building the resilience and the muscle to be more solid when I face overt disruptions and transitions in life.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Can you say that again about resilience?
That's hard. Okay, so yes, working with something that is predictable, happens every 4 months, is a way of building resilience and to be more solid on my feet when I face over disruptions, which are not all predictable in life.
Amazing. That's HSP Business Miracles Community Wisdom right there. Invite each of you to take that in. Thank you, Gabrielle. Amazing. Beautiful. Lee, introduction and something you heard.
Lee Shane, calling from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. I'm in the core program and I'm in marketing stream. What struck me about this is because I've recently just done my in-out aligned productivity schedule, and I realized that I basically did it seasonally in the sense of, yeah, in the sense of, I'm doing a 3-month block from September to December and taking a month off between December 15th and January 15th. And then I'm doing a 6-month block. And then I'm doing basically July and August for reflection and creation, basically taking them off as well. So yeah, so that feels really cool. And yeah, I've always been connected to the seasons, and yeah, so
Very
my
cool, gorgeous, amazing, and such a beautiful demonstration for each of us, but especially for yourself, Lee, of doing it differently, right? Really taking that privilege of agency to be able to set up a schedule, a structure in a way that will serve and support your ultimate productivity as an HSP. Absolutely smack down, brilliant, and gorgeous. Because again, it's such a demonstration of doing it differently versus how a lot of HSPs just spend their, time and energy just raging against how the rest of the world is not designed for them. Well, what about designing it yourself for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key words for me is workable. Like, this is workable for me, instead of banging my head against a brick wall trying to do it. Like I've never been a 9 to 5 kind of person, but
Right.
yeah. So this makes it doable. This makes it workable.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes. All right. Incredible. Thank you. Let's all take a breath in and let it out. Awesome. I already see many members in this roundtable taking notes, receiving so much that's been shared from what's been shared already. Let's allow ourselves to go a bit deeper and look at that first question from today's training. How have transitions been a struggle in the past? And utilizing this roundtable to go to the second question, which is where could you use support with making this current seasonal transition as successful as possible? So this is an opportunity to step forward. And if you're not quite yet seeing some of those solutions that have been shared by what was kind of light bulb moments from the training, this is an opportunity to flesh it out, mentor it through, possibly receive some community support, continue the conversational forum, and really look at how we can work with these seasonal transitions. Lorena, let's hear your introduction and let's dive into where you could use support.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Lorena. I'm calling in from Vancouver, Canada. I'm in the HSL program in the marketing leadership track. And piggybacking off of what Brianna shared is like, I noticed that the fall transition is a period of really good activation for me. Like there's the beginning of the school year. I've been a student for so long. My birthday is also in September. I launched my business last year in September. I'm in this period of great movement right now in terms of like having a lot of ideas come in, as well as like the path to put these ideas into motion. Yay. And at the same time, I also experience these dips in my mood and my energy. They're like depressions, the grief that Helene talked about. So like the last few weeks for particular, like my sleep has just been completely messed up. And I'm doing all the self-care and supportive activities that I know to do. So it doesn't feel like I'm pushing through it and and it doesn't feel like I'm just hiding out because I'm still taking action. But it's like one of those cases where like I'm doing everything I know to, and it's not working. So I'm feeling frustrated.
So when you say it's not working, say a little bit more about what you mean by that.
As in, like, I've been getting like 4 hours of sleep or less for the last few nights, just naturally. Like, even though I'm drinking my teas, doing my yoga and breath work and this and that, and going to acupuncture.
And So what's the problem with 4 hours of sleep?
It's when it's cumulative, it just like I feel very wired right now,
Mhm.
and I just need some support with coming down.
And what doesn't work for you about being wired?
I love it during the day because I have all this energy, but then at bedtime I would like to sleep for just to get my rest. The problem is that I don't always feel rested.
And just exploring here, what if we just allowed for 4 hours of sleep to be enough for now?
I hadn't considered that.
And why not?
I think there's this perception that it's that's not good for your body. It's not healthy. I've been diagnosed with a mood disorder, so it's like there's always that fear of like it'll happen again.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why I ask those questions is because so much of what you shared, I hear is just working really well. And I'm also hearing that there's now even this new level of consciousness for you, especially as a result of this training, of like, oh, this is kind of what happens for me this time of year. And what I'm hearing also that's creating more of the tension and difficulty for you is judgment about it. As if this shouldn't be happening and it's bad because it's happening. Because I'm not fitting into the way that I've heard means that I'm healthy. And ultimately, especially for us as HSPs, it is about the ultimate health is about being able to really tune in and listen to our body and what it needs, and to be able to work with it as an instrument, not only as in the immediate of what's happening, but also from more of a zoom out of what's happening, which is part of what seasonal transitions are about. So for example, it might be really valuable to take this training and be like, I'm just going to go into a little self-experiment over the next 6 weeks. I'm going to watch and track my sleep. I'm going to watch and track my energy ups and downs. I'm going to watch and track my productivity. And then I'm going to use this information really valuably to understand more about how I operate at this time of year and what's most helpful and valuable for me to operate at my best this time of year. And when I feel fearful, I'll turn to energy management and I'll turn to this community for support. And then I'll have this like amazing body of research, since that's kind of your area, to like work with around the most important project of my entire life, which is me.
Yeah.
And then I get to decide and I get to arrange what I need for this particular time of year. Because here's one thing that I have definitely learned personally, especially with sleep disruption and patterns, which I literally feel like I should have a PhD by now, is the body will always recover when you actually give it the space to do so. So for example, like I've learned that there's sometimes like I just do fine with 6 hours of sleep. I don't really need more than that. Other times I do. My body will tell me if that's needed. So I don't stress anymore about like the fact that I don't necessarily get to sleep some nights until 12 midnight, because I know that as long as I get 6 hours, then I'm good. What do you hear here, Lorena?
What I'm hearing is like just a sense of more like self-acceptance around like this is how my body works, and it doesn't mean things are about to spiral out of control and everything I've worked for will be gone in shambles. So it just, which takes away, or at least like the fear is subsiding. And then what I'm also hearing is embrace it. Like I have all these ideas, write them down. I'm not gonna do everything in one day, obviously. But it's just like, just have a place for these inspired ideas to live so that when it's time to implement them, It's like they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
yeah.
That's
And
right.
what I'm also hearing is like tune into my intuition of like actually do say no to some things. And yeah, because I've been resisting that. And
Gorgeous. Amazing. So then what I hear is using consciousness around seasonal transitions to then support in a positive way behavior, and including behavior that hasn't necessarily worked for you in the past, like saying yes to everything. That's empowering.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I'll take a breath in and let it out. Chelsea, introduction and support.
Hi, I'm Chelsea from Nashville in the HSL core program, advanced marketing leadership track, I think.
Mhm.
I really appreciate this topic because I have been feeling some seasonal anxiety. I've been having an amazing summer. Like, I'm working on projects that I love. I'm pretty sure I exceeded my dire need, which was like a first. And thank you. As things are starting to slow down, the anxiety of, okay, am I going to go back into despair and financial stress again? And I want to be more proactive with that. Oh, we have 3 minutes. I also wrote down a couple of other charged topics like holiday family stress and health stress. I've been getting sick pretty much every year since COVID. And I think all of that combined is making me feel like some fall, winter dread.
Yes, absolutely. All makes so much sense. And so where I bring us back to is the leaning into being proactive, right? I always feel sad between summer and fall. And now I make as much of a ritual as I can around this transition time. For example, I change my jewelry, I change my perfume, I have a final summer soiree, I review and look at pictures, I post them. You can all wait for my end of summer smash up. It'll be coming on social soon. And other ways to support myself to acknowledge this time of year impacts me. Rather than bracing against it, embracing it. And then in regards to other areas of stress or anxiety around transitions, holidays included, what I'm hearing from your share is awareness, which we know is the start to Ayuk, which then bring us to understanding and then into choice and action and choice and action and into knowing. The anxiety is saying, hey, pay attention here. How do you want to do this differently this time? What could that look like? What could that be like? So as I mentioned earlier with Lorena, you turn to the energy management tools and you turn to this community. There's other hands up. We're not going to have opportunity for everyone today, but boy, do I recommend keeping this conversation going on the forum. Don't just sit with it alone. Embrace it. Allow the value of this community and the amazing HSP creativity that resides here for ideas, insights, and inspirations. Enough to start, Chelsea?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Amazing. Let's place a hand on heart and let's all take a breath in and let it out.